I'm doing that again. Justin Hawkins rides again. Greetings and salutations. It is I, Justin Hawkins. It's a little YouTube channel that I found. Do you remember The Darkness? I believe in a thing called love. I believe in a thing called love. Anyway, Justin Hawkins got his own little YouTube channel going there. And I came across it by chance, and it's really very charming. It's all only about music. People get so bloody passionate about it, don't they? Cheers, everybody. Now, I can't see any of your comments because, as you know, my laptop is not fixable at the moment. I've got something to show you, gang. It's Friday. I got something to show you. I don't know if you can see. Look. All right, so everyone has been so kind. Hi, I'm Russ Kane. This is the men's radio station. This is the Daily Show. Thank God I'm on my own because, thank heavens, I've had enough. It's been a long week. So it's you and me getting to know each other like really close. Yeah. Right, this is what I can do. So, can you see? Because I've only got a little postage there. I don't know how this works. So I can do this. I have no movement at all, like a little bit on this finger, a little bit, and nothing on this. Absolutely the square root of Sodom.
Sorry, did you say you're on your own?
Oh God,
Hi.
No.
I'm back. Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water.
Oh, Christ. After everything I've bloody been through, I thought, well, it can't get any worse. Oh, for the love of God. Oh.
And I have to tell you
bloody
that
Nora,
I got caught a bit short today. No, I got caught a bit short today. I'm sure this has come as a massive shock.
I hope there's a dry cleaners near you.
Sorry, I'm sitting down. But, right. I'm actually, you may be able to tell from my backdrop, I'm not in the usual location.
Where are you? In prison or something? Where are you? Youth offenders?
No, I'm actually at St. Pancras International.
You're going to France?
Well, I'm not going to France. No, what happened was...
What are you doing at St. Pancras International?
Well, I was on my way to work. And I realised I wasn't going to make it in time if I went all the way into work.
A bit like
so
that,
I thought
you doing a wee. Apparently, it looked a bit like you and doing a wee, it would seem.
I bet.
Oh, this is going to be brilliant. I don't have a laptop. I'm doing it off a phone. And he's in a railway station.
It's the way it's going to go, I can tell.
Oh, for sake.
Yeah, I can only apologise.
So what happened? You got caught. Explain why, because otherwise people think you're incompetent. I know you're not. I mean, by the way,
I am slightly.
I've been so looking forward to this. Phil and I have been planning this for like forever. That he was. So this isn't. It's just my fantastic acting. Oh,
Veronica Curran, hi Phil. Robert Van Buren, thank you very much. Says hi. Emma Webb says, "Yay, Mr. Kane, we see you." Oh, Emma Webb also says, "Oh, here's Phil, and it's Friday. Happy holiday," or I think she means holiday, but thank you very much indeed. Chantel Rickard.
That's good.
Holla.
What does she
Chantel
say?
Rickard says, "Hurrah, PD is back, and please send the link." I'll do it again, Chantel. Hold that thought.
I sent the link, Chantel.
Sue Sleep.
I sent you the link.
Sue Sleep. Hi guys, nice to see you, Phil.
Oh, shut up,
Brown.
Sue
Welcome back, Phil. Dave, thank you very much.
Shut up,
indeed. Emma Webb is also saying, "Welcome back again." Thank you.
Shut up, Emma Webb. You can all shut up.
Can only apologise in advance. I'm actually using the St. Pancras free Wi-Fi because I tried to tether my iPhone, and unfortunately, just now that the internet wasn't working on my phone, which is
what is that sort of Soho bondage thing? Is it? I'd like to tether your iPhone. Well, that's an extra 25 quid, love. Hey, so anyway, welcome back.
Don't ask how that process works.
God only knows. Anyway, so this is how it's going to work going up. Excuse moi, going forwards. Is that because Phil is busier than a one-armed paper hanger in New York? Don't quite get that analogy, but there you go. Phil, we've been talking about it all. So Neil Long will be with me on Mondays and Wednesdays. So there'll be the sensible programs. And because he's got the negatives of a very dodgy party, Phil will be back on Fridays. So we're going to make Fridays, if we can, a little bit lighter, so we can get much heavier on Mondays and Wednesdays, or not, as the mood takes me, to be honest with you. Welcome back.
And I would like to apologize. Thank you. I would like to apologize for my absence for however long it has been.
No, it's been a joy. It's been a joy. We've loved it.
The truth is
bloody marvelous.
I noticed the moustache is back. That's a shame. What happened was that I was involved in the launch of a new TV channel. You see. And what happened is that my work was getting a little bit overwhelming.
As
a result of it, I was finding it very difficult. No, it was the other one. Finding it very hard, finding it very, very hard to actually commit to this program. As a result of it, I'm afraid that is why I have been notably absent for the last few weeks. So I'm very sorry. I do appreciate.
Hang on. Sorry, and then a long holiday. Then a long holiday.
Oh yeah, then I went away for 2 weeks.
Rag. Yeah, then you went away, and if I don't get away soon, I swear to God, I think I'm going to have a complete breakdown. Anyway, you're good, you're well, everything okay? What are you looking at? You're not standing on the line, are you? Are you standing on the line?
I'm looking around to see if there are any plug sockets, because I'm going to be brutally honest here. My laptop's a bit low on battery, and I don't think it's going to last the course.
Could this get any more shit? You don't make it to work, your battery's low, you're sitting in a railway station, got a ticket for my destination. Okay, well, there we go. I will discuss with you whether I can come on the TV thing later. I'd love to, because I love Robbie Rindon. I've wanted to meet him for ages. I just don't know logistically because of my plans today if I can, but we'll talk about it afterwards. Now then, welcome back, Phil Dave. You've been well. That's the important thing.
I have. Hang on just a couple. We do have to say, though. Yeah, they were very kind. We do have to. One thing we do have to show that we care about. Paul Claridge says, today is my last shift at East Croydon. Been told this morning the Evening Standard are pulling out of lots of stations. So as of tonight, I am unemployed. Sorry to hear that.
No, you're
Paul,
not.
Truly.
Paul, you're not. You and I have talked about this, Paul. Chill. It'll be all right.
Lovely Demisa says, oh no, Paul, that's awful. I'm so sorry to hear this horrid news. The upside is that there might be another pitch where you're less likely to get beaten up. Well, I'd say that lovely Demisa has the right idea. Paul is being so nice to you. He says, Phil been away. I hadn't even noticed. Thanks.
Yeah.
Lovely Demisa says, Phil, don't you carry a spare battery pack? That surprises me. Well, I do, but I don't know if there's any battery in it.
The man is a wandering mass of chaos. People think it's me. He pretends to be the professional one. He hasn't got a clue what he's doing. I'm phoning Rupert Murdoch. Am I allowed to say those words? I'm phoning him later. I'm telling him straight. I'm going to go, Ru, no, you've got a few things going on, mate. I'm just going to say, Ru, you've got a few things going on at the moment, but let me talk to you about Phil Dave. And I think he's going to thank me for it. I'm not going to say anything, except I'm not going to embarrass Phil. I actually won't, but you've seen the news. I've met Jerry Hall twice. Once at a charity event when she was just great. She was behind a stall, had no makeup, a hair scragged back, apron on, working her socks off at a food stall. She was great. And then she and I had sat next to each other at a dinner. Absolutely charming. There we go. Then why would
Lovely Demisa says, okay, all this goes to prove is how much you need me.
I do need you. I need you in many, many ways. But Leslie,
we're feeling the pinch of lovely Demisa.
I must be honest with you, Leslie, many of the ways in which I need you, we cannot discuss on radio, even on men's radio station. There we go. I posted something really sweet today.
Did you? Good God, that's not like you.
I know. I think it's the drugs. And it was, and this is not a joke. I thought it was a gag, but it's not. And I posted it on my own Facebook site. Just look up Russ Kane, you can see it. And a guy who'd had an ice cream van. This is not leading up to a joke, by the way. A guy who had an ice cream van, and he had the same sort of pitch talking about Paul Claridge for about 40 years. And the local neighborhood absolutely loved him. Unfortunately, he got cancer, because I was going to do a joke. They found him covered in hundreds and thousands. The police think he topped himself. Thank you. I'm here all week. Do you want me to explain that, Phil?
I think it was because it was an ice cream van, and they said that you topped himself because of the toppings.
Yeah, because of the hundreds. Yeah, have a
Yeah.
killer joke. Anyway, yeah, fine, good. I've really missed you. Anyway, the guy got cancer and he died. But at the funeral cortege was all the other ice cream vans. It was just, I put up the video on my, as I said, on my Facebook site, and I've also retweeted it on my Twitter site, which is at Russell Kane, 2 S's, 2 L's, Kane. And
Some people are
it's
so greedy.
It's adorable. It's just, can you imagine a funeral cortege, but instead of all the black Daimlers and Jags and everything, it's all just dozens of ice cream vans, and they're all doing their little tune, whatever it might be.
I like the
going
idea,
through.
though, that when
It's
someone
like
does
great.
sort of depart this world, that they have
Yeah.
some sort of reference to their life on Earth as they move on to the next one. It's like, for example, when the bloke who founded IKEA died, everyone sort of started saying that they're going to have to build his own coffin. I like that idea.
I like the guy who wrote the Hokey Cokey. They put the left leg in and they put the left leg out, and they put. And what was it? The other one about, I can't remember what it is, but it's because I think it's a visual gag about the guy who created and invented predictive text, and then instead of the funeral would be at 3 p.m. It's like every other word you don't want. It's a visual gag. Thanks for helping me out there, Phil.
What?
Nothing. That's okay. Just leave me hanging. It's fine. I'm used to it. So what have you been up to?
Well, apart from work and going on a holiday, as you say, I suppose no, that's pretty much it, to be honest.
God, you are duller than I remember.
I am very boring.
You're even more boring than I can recall. Anyway, there we are.
Basically.
There we are. But he's not
Veronica
good, but he's
Curran,
the cheapest.
Veronica Curran says, moustache needs a discussion, do you not think, Phil? Isn't that a double negative? Veronica Curran, I agree that the moustache does need a bit of a discussion.
No, I love it.
But that's the main thing.
That is it. I am Magnum PI. I look like an ice cream, some Findus peas, and the old flying eye. So that's who I am, Magnum PI. I think it's nice.
David Wimble.
Yeah, I remember him.
Says, I went to the funeral of a man who invented radio. It was a pretty grim service, but a great reception.
Hey, wah, 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 wah.
There we go. We're now going to come up with all of the death-related gags that there are. Now, look, in all seriousness, obviously, since you and I were last on air together.
1957. Hang on. Disaster. Hang on. Total disaster. Hang on. Total disaster.
Come forth,
Hang
evil
on.
spirits.
Keep going, you fool. Can't see the hole.
Okay. I was
Keep
just going to
going.
him and ask him about his wrist. Unbelievable. And now he's just a total disaster. What's he doing?
No.
Oh, he dropped his AirPods. Oh, I see. Oh, that was silly. Whoops. There you go.
Can you hear? Oh, there we are. I'm back.
Right, are you back with us now? That's better.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I was just about
to pull the wires out.
Split second. I was about to be nice. I was literally just about to be nice and caring and ask how your arm was, and then you go and do that like a silly stunt. What's the matter with you? Pardon?
That was close.
I did say a silly. I did say a silly stunt.
What did you say? How's my hand? Well, I was explaining earlier. The wires came out yesterday. They showed me the X-rays again, right? And I'm not kidding. So the wires ran from the middle of the back of my hand, where you can see the marks, right the way to the tip, right the way. So they weren't sure. And I thought, oh. And when I was there last week for physiotherapy, I said, "Do I get some anesthetic when you remove the wires?" To which they replied, "No. Take some painkillers before you come to the hospital." And I'm thinking, I swear to God, that's what they said. So I went, and there's a little bit of palaver. Anyway, so I had the X-rays first, and I went back up, and then the nurse goes, the doctor goes.
So not to be too grim or indeed too graphic.
Go on.
But do they literally just yank them through?
Well, I'm going to go there. Yeah. She said, now, just put your hand down if you would. I'm just going to get. This is what she said. I'm not making this up. The people say, "Where do you get all your?" I said, "I just look at life." And she said, "I'm just going to get the remover." I said, "I'm sorry?" The remover. As I wrote on Facebook,
Was
that
that
is
a
like
job title?
that is one grade down from the Punisher or the
Is the
Throat
remover
Ripper.
like a job description? So
No,
they say I'm
no,
just going to go and get the porter, and then a bloke
no,
walks in who's
no,
got Edward Tweezer hands or something like that.
no. It's very good, very good. I really thought he convinced everybody he had scissor hands. No, you idiot! He's an actor. What do you think? We don't think you can speak to fish. Anyhow,
Jonathan MacDonald has an extraordinary view on life. He says, "Holy excrement, Russ!
yes.
Love the moustache."
Thank you,
He then
Jonathan.
goes on to say, "It makes you look younger."
I love this guy. I don't think we've ever met, but he's my new best pal. Anyway, she leaves the little room. I'm not kidding.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, what the bloody hell's a remover? Because I couldn't think of a more scary name for an instrument. And she
Russell, you
comes
know how
back.
you could make this even more intimidating? If you
How?
turn your phone 90 degrees.
No, I
and then
could
you'll be.
try, but it doesn't work. I've
Does it
tried.
not?
Well, I'll
Oh.
do it. I'll do it. Oh, the whole bloody thing
Oh.
is gone now. Now what you made me do?
No,
The
it
whole
doesn't
bloody thing
work.
is gone now.
Well,
No.
you could have warned me it doesn't work.
Well, I thought, well, you must know what you're doing. What a bloody
well.
fool I am. You just
Anyway,
pretend to be clever. So she leaves.
so
and
yeah,
she
the
comes back,
remover.
and she comes back with the thing all in a hygienic wrapping. The last time I saw a tool like this, someone was using it to change a lug nut on a London double-decker bus. It was a freaking great, like, wrench. Like, imagine a cross between a wrench and pliers. And I'm thinking, oh shit, oh God. So I think, I'm not going to look. I'm so not going to look, right? And then they have to cut the tops of the wires off. Not nice because they're quite painful where they've been rubbing against the skin. And then didn't feel a thing.
Really?
Didn't feel a thing. Nothing.
Here's me
It's
thinking you were
bizarre.
going to say you were in screeching agony, and now you
No,
just
it's the
oh.
weirdest. It's the weirdest thing she pulled out. I mean, you can imagine what this was doing in my head. In my head, I'm thinking this is going to be horrendous. And the wire, I didn't look, and I didn't even realize she'd taken out. I must be absolutely honest. The second wire, and then then the best bit. My hand was like, what was that? Express train, presumably, or an espresso.
Eurotunnel. And not Eurostar, that's the one.
Oh, was it? Blimey, how quick was that going? And then she said, yes, your
Apparently,
hand will...
apparently people still want to go to France. Who knew?
It'd be great, but it's just full of French. You know,
Can't win them all.
Well, you can't. Maybe the French would go, and it'd be a fantastic country. He gave an enigmatic shrug of his Gallic shoulders. Anyway, she said, yes, it will hurt, because obviously the wires have been tickling the bones. And I said, could we define the word tickling?
I was going to say, this is a new definition of the word tickling I hadn't previously been made aware of.
So bit by bit, we'll get there. And but I tell you what,
does it feel very different now you haven't got the wires in?
Yeah, I haven't got the that pulling sensation. If that makes any sense, you could feel. I could feel the wires were put. So it's kind of nice. And also, I don't have those pictures which everyone went, you're joking. I don't have those two radio masts sticking out the back of my hand, which is a joy. An absolute
Maybe
joy.
that's why my signal's so rubbish today.
Yeah, you see, if I'd have had it and put my hand near the
You're so
telephone,
selfish. If you would have just waited another day or two to have the wires removed, I could have done this show without interruption. The Master of Zorro.
The Masters of Zorro, very good. That's very good. Anyway, who's that master man? Anyway, it's going to be weeks and weeks and weeks of physiotherapy. I go back in a couple of weeks. They're so great. They've got all these exercises. It is, you know, look, I'm going to be absolutely honest because this is a station about mental health and well-being. I've come to have peace in my mind that I will not have the same dexterity and movement in my dominant hand as I had for the last 8 million years that I've been around. Okay, I've had to come to terms with it. There's no point in railing about it. It's what it is. It's a stupid accident. And there we are. That's why accidents are called accidents, because they're completely bloody stupid. And that's it. So nothing I can do about it.
Speaking of the use in the dominant hand, I remember this reminds me of a time when my sister, who I should say is now in her early 30s, with married with two children.
Is she two children?
When she
way ahead of you,
considerably younger, she was speaking to my parents had my dad's former business partner around for dinner and his wife.
Right.
And My
This
sister
sounds
had
like a plot. This sounds like a plot from Terry and June, by the way.
my sister had recently learnt a new word. She learnt what it meant to be able to use both hands in equal strength. And she very proudly showed off that she said that she was anti.
And then it fades. I've no idea what he was going to say. I bet it was hilarious. Or knowing Phil, probably not. What we'll never know is if he's speaking to his sister this week or not. We never know. Some weeks they're quite close. Some weeks they don't speak. I'm lucky. I don't have a brother or sister. I've got lovely cousins who I kind of like my sisters. Yeah, they kind of are. And that's it. And that's even the boys. Wah, 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 wah. Phil has, of course, frozen. Could today get any more bloody complicated? No, he's gone. And just like that, you see, Neil Long wouldn't go. Neil Long would be professional. Neil Long wouldn't leave when he's on holiday. When Neil Long is
Isn't it
on
marvelous?
holiday,
Anyway.
oh Christ, it's back. Right, go on. So your
Anyway,
sister
so I was
then
saying that what happened was my sister promptly sort of went and said, and thank goodness this word cut off before, because otherwise you would not have got this joke at all. This would have been terrible. She promptly announced to our family friends or my dad's business partner that she had learnt that she was anti-Semitic. And so he said, what the hell do you mean? And so she said, I can write with both hands.
I can write
She
with
thought
both hands. Jews
yeah,
go
she
home.
thought anti-Semitic was writing with both hands as opposed to ambidextrous, which of course was the word she was actually looking for. But never mind.
Yeah.
Luckily, that was a long time ago, and we laugh about it.
Then
now.
she went on to get a job as PA to Jeremy Corbyn. Who the hell knew? Who could have seen the signs? Who could have seen those signs, eh?
Who only knows? I have to tell you, you'll be hugely relieved to hear that should the internet connection drop again, there's there's an extra pair of hands waiting in the wings, who I'm delighted to report is far more capable than my connection. Oh, look, it's Chantal Rickards, everyone.
Well,
Chantal,
hello.
so nice to see you.
I'm only here as backup in case you need me. Otherwise, I'm enjoying the chat between the boys.
Are you? It makes one of us.
Oh, in that case, right, fine. There you go. Right,
oh, don't you bring her back? We love the Chanters.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Back.
I'm totally and utterly kidding. How could we do anything else?
Do you know what I've realised, Phil? I've realised we have missed a money-making revenue stream, because I'm wondering how many of those.
And you didn't tell me.
I'm telling you now. It's just occurred to me that we never charged commission on any sales that Chantal got for her brother's wonderful pottery. We could have had a slight, like 10% or something.
I think you probably both deserve some free mugs, so I'll bring some the next time I come up from.
He loves them.
I think in this organisation there are more than enough mugs, Chantal. But I thank you for saying so.
I have supplied mugs to your contributors, Russ, as thank you gifts for being on the show. So I'm looking after.
Serious? Are you really?
Yeah.
And you never mentioned it.
No.
God, you're an amazing human being. She's the most amazing human being. I get so many comments about you, and I go, yes, she really is that lovely. It's not an act. She's even lovelier in real life. When people ask me about Phil, and I go very quiet. It's best.
I'm really enjoying having Phil back. I love Longy, but I've got a very soft spot for you, Phil.
Yeah, it's called the soft spot. It's called Hackney Marshes.
We do need to remind people, of course, that soft spot's not always a good thing, because, of course, moles could be deemed a soft spot, and as we know, most moles need removing. So, I mean, it could be a good or a bad thing. Who knows? But I'm grateful all the same, Chantal, and I can't deny I'm very excited to be back, even if the good people of St Pancras International are mildly horrified at what I'm doing right now.
Are they? Are you sitting somewhere very public and people are staring at you? Well, that's the Eurostar going by again.
I was going to say, it sounds like the Eurostar.
It is either that or Phil's got really bad gas.
Well, there's a very,
I'm going to.
Well, there's a very suspicious-looking police.
We'll never know what he said. Very suspicious.
I was going to say the wrong aftershave, but keep going.
Oh God!
It was more about.
This is exciting.
Are you? That's nice. No, I was going to say, in answer to your question, in terms of whether or not I'm aware people, there's
This
a very
is like-
suspicious
what was
looking a police officer who looks like he's eyeing up what the heck I'm doing. So
Yeah.
it's fine. I could get
Let's go-
arrested live on Men's Radio. Like, the first time I've returned in about 6 or 7 weeks, and I'm
I'd
potentially
laugh.
standing the chance of getting arrested
Would I
live on
laugh?
it. This will be
I'd
exciting,
so
won't it?
laugh.
Causing a public
would- I-
nuisance.
Well, you've been doing that for 35 years. for God's sake. Chantal, on Father's Day, we all went out to see Top Gun.
And
Even better than the hype. Even better. It was fabulous.
it was fun,
Fabulous.
wasn't it? I'm
Oh,
going
it was
to go
great.
again. Yeah, I think I'm
It's
going to
one
go
of
and see it
those-
in
yeah.
IMAX.
Do you know what? I absolutely would do that. I never bother to go and see movies again because it's like, I've seen it, I know how it goes. But this was so terrific, and
Yeah.
so many beautiful nods to the past without being cheesy. I can't recommend it highly enough. If you like great action films that look huge, sound huge, and as I said, I said to you, I think a few weeks ago, I really do think Tom Cruise is the last of the classic big movie stars.
Yeah,
It
no,
just
it's the
looks
business.
great.
It completely delivers. I mean, if you
Yeah.
as a follow-up to the original Top Gun, I mean, he absolutely excels, and the movie excels. So it's really.
Can I just say, I'm really excited at the prospect for in my sorry life. It's not actually Russ's internet connection that's causing all the problems. It's mine. This is exciting, isn't it?
Every dog has his day. No, if you haven't seen Top Gun, I know most of you have, but I know Chantal recommended it. I honestly, thumbs up. It's just the moment you hear that opening note, the credits start to roll. You hear the opening note, you're sold. I mean, you just hear, dum. It was just,
great sound design.
And there wasn't one dull scene.
No,
There wasn't one dull
keeps
scene.
rattling through. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
Totally
just,
right.
it was
Although-
terrific.
I met a young American woman yesterday for lunch, and actually she didn't like it. And I was really going through my mind last night why she didn't like it. And she felt that the story was thin and it was hackneyed and it was predictable. And actually I looked at it from a completely different point of view. It's still a very, very good piece of filmmaking. Whether
Isn't
you
it
think
great?
it's predictable and, you know, the baddies are going to win or the goodies are going to win or all of that sort of stuff. Yes, there's a predictability about it.
Sure.
So, you know, it lives up to the expectation, I reckon.
What does she want? Does she want Tom Cruise to die in a fiery fireball inferno as his F-15 blew up? I mean,
Well,
no.
actually, she thought that there was too much of Tom Cruise in the movie, which is really quite interesting.
But isn't that
Tom Cruise
kind of
film.
understandable?
Yeah, well, possibly. I mean, there is a lot of Tom. It is a Tom Cruise movie.
So it should be. So
Yeah,
it should be.
exactly. That's what
So it
people
should
went
be.
for. Yeah.
I tell you what did amaze me about that. The chap who plays Son of Goose, Rooster. You remember Goose was Goose was in the first film in 1986. 1986. Jesus. Who dies, and that gives Tom the huge crisis of conscience.
Yeah.
It's an existential crisis, Chantal. It's the pivotal point of the movie. Anyway, but the guy who plays him, Miles Teller.
Yeah.
And I was talking to the kids. I said, what's he been in? He was great. And they said, well, one of your favorite films. I said, what? They said, Whiplash. I said, that was the kid playing the drums. Holy moly. And he was in something else huge tonight. Oh, yes, he was in Fantastic Four, which was terrible.
Okay,
that's not his fault.
I didn't see.
Don't waste your. I mean, look at the wallpaper. It'd be more entertaining. I swear to God. Awful. But Whiplash with J.K. Simmons. Oh my God, what a fantastic film that is! And I didn't realize that was Miles Teller. Excellent.
Good actor.
Very good actor.
Got a long career ahead of him, I reckon. He's just in his late 20s, early 30s. I think he's got a long way to go. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so impressive. I still get so impressed when you see somebody and you think, oh, and they're typecast, and then you see them do something so different. You go, wow, I wish that is proper acting.
Yeah.
Because there's no scintilla of their personality from the other film anywhere. It's just a completely different person.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Great. It's
That's
great.
probably the reason that we now can't really see Tom Cruise doing anything but action movies. I think if he went off to do a rom-com or, even A Few Good Men, the Aaron Sorkin movie from 25 years ago, that we'd suddenly go, no, we don't see you as a lawyer any longer. We don't really see you as a bar.
I'm being told off here, people.
What's the matter?
I'm being told. Well, first of all, Chrissy Richards, says, lovely, Phil is back, yippee, which is very kind. Thank you very much indeed. However, she then goes on to say, Phil, please smile. I'm so sorry, Chrissy. I do apologize. I didn't mean to be so miserable. I shall make more of a conscious effort now to pretend I'm enjoying myself.
Chrissy,
and we'll see what we can do.
Chrissy, stop that.
How's this?
I was
is this all right?
Do you know, I was sitting down having a coffee. Somebody walked past and went, cheer up, mate. It may never happen. And I just went, because I had my hand in the car, I just went, really? And I went back to my coffee. I hate it when people do that. So I find it interesting in terms of mental health. Very intrusive. It's like, you don't know what somebody's going through. Shut up. It's such a rude thing. I didn't mean me, but other people are going through horrible things. Don't tell them to cheer up. It may never happen.
Oh dear. I do remember many years ago, this is slightly too much information, but sitting on the number 68 bus on the way back from somewhere in South London to Waterloo, having just been dumped by a boyfriend, and I was sobbing my eyes out. And the woman next to me said, don't worry, love, it may never happen. And I said, it just has.
Is he a fool? Is he a fool?
I know, I always thought that.
Does he now look at you and go, what the hell did I do?
I hope
Look
so.
at her. Look at what she's achieved. That was mine. I let it slip through my fingers like grains of sand.
Yeah, he didn't deserve me.
What an idiot. No, he bloody well didn't deserve you. Did I tell you? I'm one of my favourite bands is Motley Crue. Right, you wouldn't like it. It's
wow.
I love Motley Crue. Love Motley Crue. And Nikki Sixx was being interviewed, and in his book, excuse me, it was either The Heroin Diaries, because he's very open about it, or The Dirt, which was a huge bestseller. And they tracked down Nikki Sixx's early life, right? Yeah. And they wanted to track down his first girlfriend in high school or something, and they managed to track her down on the phone, and they say, "Hi, is this?"
All right.
I can't take him seriously. Anyway, so they track this girl down.
I don't know what your problem is. Excuse me.
Nothing,
I'm in a very old-fashioned train station. I have to fit in. Look, you see.
Christ,
there's
look
no
behind you.
It's such a beautiful sort of Victorian station and not wearing a fedora.
Yeah. Well, look behind you. It's Margaret Rutherford on the 443 to Paddington. Anyway.
And also, do you notice? And also, can you help but notice sort of how beaming the light is behind me? I look positively angelic, don't you think?
Yeah, that's right. When the Antichrist does return, he will look like an angel. Anyway, you know what you look like? John Rickman.
You out.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon from Kempton Park. Got a full course of runners and riders for you. There'd be that. Anyway, back to my Nikki Sixx story. So the interviewer who's trying to put the book together says, whatever her name is, do you remember dating Frank? I think his name.
I don't understand why anyone in their right mind ever bothers going to the races, because all you really see as a bystander is this. Look, that's it. That's all you will see when you go to the race. Maybe once every 10 minutes, you'll see this. What is the point of going to the races? Seriously,
I used to go with my dad.
Watch it on the TV. You'll see everything, and it doesn't make sense. It's the same way as people get whiplash when they go to Wimbledon.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend £72 at a pannet of 3 strawberries. Anyway, back to my Nikki Sixx story. So they talked to this woman who's now married with kids, and said, "Did you used to date somebody called? What was that? I think it's Frank Farello. Did you used to date?" She said, "Oh yeah, Frankie. I remember Frankie. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Whatever happened to Frankie? Oh, well, he moved away from. Oh, it was like some godforsaken Midwest place." And he moved to Los Angeles. Did he? Yeah. What did he do? Well, he joined a band, and she went, Frankie joined a band. What was the name of the band? Anything ever happened? She went, and the guy went, yeah, the band's called Motley Crue. And she went, do you know, I was in a record store and I picked up an album, and I thought, that looks like Frankie. Nah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How bizarre.
One of the biggest bands. These guys are worth way north of 100 million, 100 million each. Probably
Gazillions.
Probably heading towards 200 million each of them. And back
Should we have a
on
whip
tour
round?
now.
I feel sorry
Back on.
for them.
It's an interesting thing. I got a quick question for you. Do you think, for Chantel and then Phil, it's quite a serious question. Motley Crue are back on tour. And oddly enough, Vince Neil sounding better than ever. He's not the greatest vocalist, but he sounds better. He's lost some weight. He's got the power back and the energy. Do you think there are times when bands should just say, and John Bon Jovi coming in for huge criticism at the moment, his voice is not hitting the notes, they're putting everything in a lower register. Do you think there are times when people should just say, time to quit now, leave it as a great memory, let's do, what do you think, Chantal?
Well, I think, no, because they're getting as old as quickly as I'm getting.
No, yeah.
And it still makes me feel, relevant and as though I've got contemporaries who are fun and interesting if they're still doing their thing. I mean, we've got...
That's a terrific point. I've never thought of it like that. So of course, bands are sort of aging at the same rate. So why not?
No, and I still
like
love the music that I grew up with in the 60s and 70s, and I will never stop loving that music.
But don't you think, Chantal, that the problem is that once someone reaches, because it's no secret that the voice changes as one gets older, and it can sometimes be for better, it can sometimes be for worse. And is it worth, when, say, an artist's voice is not maybe what it once was, risking sort of still going about your sort of usual singing business, and then people getting to know you for how you sound now rather than how you sounded in the heyday?
I'm not sure. Well, let's see what happens with McCartney on Sunday night down at Glasgow. And Diana Ross.
Diana Ross, McCartney, let's face it, it's Paul McCartney.
Exactly.
The biggest rock star of all time. Yeah. I don't care. I would just be thrilled if he stood there. If I ever met Paul McCartney, I would actually I would faint. There's very few people I would like to meet, and it would be too big for me. I literally couldn't meet Paul McCartney. That's how much I idolize that man. Yeah. He is everything to me.
But actually, if they electronically enhance the top notes, I'm not really against that. I mean, I think that's sort of okay.
That's so interesting you say this, because Kiss are on the End of the Road tour. This is their final tour. Like they need it. Gene Simmons worth $400 million.
Good God.
They need, $400 million.
I'm a great fan of Gene Simmons. I think
Can I just double check that? Is it actually their final tour, or is it a bit like Cher's final tour, which every single
No, it actually is their no, it actually Gene now is 72. So they've said that's it. Although I personally think the band will continue without Paul. And anyway, we could talk about it for hours. But there's a big controversy. It's really interesting, the point Chantal made, that Paul Stanley has got a vocal track, because occasionally he's away from the mic and his vocals are coming out. And some people are railing against it, saying, but you're going for the spectacle. You're going to see guys. You're going to see Kiss. Does it really, really matter?
Although
does it really matter?
And I might be maligning the BBC, but the very last word from Diana Ross, or the very last phrase from Diana Ross at the Jubilee event, she thought she'd finished her vocals and the vocals carried on. So there was another phrase, which was, I don't know what it was, 2 or 3 words, but she was completely off mic and she wasn't vocalizing. So it looked to me as though it was a complete backing track and she was just minding.
Totally. Years ago at Capital Gold, we did a party, not the big party in the park for Capital FM. We did a special thing sponsored by Waitrose. So the hampers were, Chantal, I can't tell you, the hampers were
lucky.
Oh my God. And we were like in the 4th row or something. That's myself and my late wife. And what a lineup. There was Ronan Keating, who was okay.
Yeah.
Rod Stewart, Shirley Bassey, and Diana Ross. Is that
Wow.
a bill or is that a bill? It was the greatest. And I've got to say, Shirley Bassey unbelievably stole the show. Diana Ross came on, and I remember saying, you watch, as this set continues, she will just get worse and worse. It's absolute shambles.
Really?
No, I'm going back to the 90s. I'm going back to the
God.
late 90s. It was a shambles. And not only was she forgetting the words.
It very much sucks to anyone going to the O2 Arena this evening.
If you're a big Diana Ross fan, if you're a big Diana Ross fan, you'll love it. I'm not fussed one way or the other. It was lovely to see her, but she forgot the words. She started singing at the wrong part of the song.
Oh dear.
And she kept going off, and I thought, what? And I'll be very careful. What can I say? I was wondering what she was doing when she was going off. I'll leave it there.
Well,
and all the audience, in the meantime, are just thinking, is this happening? And Leslie Ian Jones says, Phil with Fedora is Indiana Jones in the lost station of Zoom.
Very
Thank you,
clever.
Leslie. Bravo. I see what you did there. Look,
I was going to say... I was going to say Crystal Skull, but that would be a bit rude.
There you go. The fedora's gone now. People are freaking
out. We love it. No, don't.
But have a look at what's happening because of the light from the skylight. Yeah. You see, I'm a little bit of a mobile beacon. This is not good. If I'm not careful, planes are going to land here.
Yeah. If a 747 suddenly comes through the roof of Paddington, it's all your fault. That's all there is.
Well, if you can attract a few trains to run on time, that would be jolly useful.
Yes, I mean,
trains to run full stop would be quite exciting. Let's be honest.
Phil, are there trains running? I forgot to ask.
There are today. No, there are today, but not tomorrow. Tomorrow's another strike day.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Poor little RMT union, you see, they don't get paid enough money because everyone else has lost their jobs during the pandemic. They've been supported throughout without losing a penny, and now they want a pay rise, the lucky little cretins. So, but anyway, never mind. Right.
I'm not going to go there, but I will say
Paul Claridge. I'm so sorry. Did I just say that out loud? I mean, I really need to remember where I am. Paul Claridge says, I remember the infamous backing track issue. Owen Paul on Pebble Mill when the track started playing.
Wasn't his fault.
He and the band who were outside the studio didn't hear the track and stood there doing nothing for about 30 seconds.
It was awful. No, they stood there doing nothing.
You must have seen it. That's a real infamous clip now.
I've never seen it.
God,
please do a search on YouTube. It's hilarious. Do a search. Owen Paul, Pebble Mill. You don't need to do any more than that, and it's hilarious.
Okay.
What happens is that Owen Paul's very open about it, and he said, "Well, we didn't hear anything. They hadn't said go." So we're just standing there, and of course, the camera keeps on them, and they're just like,
"Oh dear!"
It was just diabolical. There was nothing. There was absolutely nothing they could do.
No,
here's something interesting.
What was worse is they were going to lip sync, so of course the words were coming out, but they weren't moving their mouths.
Oh,
so it wasn't even a live performance.
It was hideous. Owen Paul.
Oh dear.
Anyway, I'll tell you something interesting about the train strike, and this is true because I can drive now, but I couldn't drive. So Talk TV would send a car for me to do my weekly appearance with Petri Hoskin, and during the train strike, they said we're going to have real problems. We can pick you up. We're going to have problems getting you home. And I thought, Christ, because it's now that will be 4 a.m. and I'm stuck, right? And so I always chat to the drivers, and I said, "Are you busy?"
I bet that thrills them.
I'm a human, Phil. I'm a human. Human interaction at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I said, "Are you busy?" And they said, "Oh yeah, we're really booked." I said, "Well, where's everyone going at 4 o'clock in the morning?" Because you couldn't get a car. And they said, "Well, there's a lot of Heathrow and City Airport and people going into the city, and of course a lot of train drivers." And I sat up in the back of the car. I said, "I'm sorry, what?" He said, "Oh yeah, a lot of train drivers." And I asked Petri about this, and oh yeah, the train drivers are a huge client, and this is a company called Brunel, which is like a really, really great sort of deluxe type private hire service. Lovely cars. And I thought, what? Yeah, train drivers. That's why you couldn't get a car.
Fascinating.
Spot the irony.
Spot the
Spot
irony.
the irony.
Absolutely.
Spot the irony.
In
there.
other news, Mayor Rezi says the individual who was pursuing legal action against the KLM for mishandling his luggage at Amsterdam airport has subsequently lost his case in court. Boom, boom. Good work. We like that one. Thank you.
Oh, I love the old chestnuts.
Absolutely.
Is it safe to come out? Right, Shantas, what have you found? What have you found?
Well, I just thought that because strikes.
Oh, yes, you're here to talk TV. Sorry.
Yeah, well, it's sort of TV, but it's also the topical TV in a way, because we were talking about the strike.
I work for Talk TV. You're here to Talk TV, and Russ appears on Talk TV. Between all of us, we've got this covered.
We've got it covered. Absolutely right. Well, Phil, you won't remember 1984, but sadly, Russ and I do remember 1984 when there was another strike. There was a miners' strike, which was a really big deal, actually.
What, children wouldn't work?
Well, if only. It somehow was worse than that. It felt
as though,
the country was riven. And it created enormous problems in collieries and coal communities around the world, most particularly in the UK, I should say, most particularly in Nottinghamshire, where the UDM and the NUM were divided down the middle. There were horrible scenes of police having to keep the protesters apart.
It was violent.
The word scab was used over and over again. It became sort of commonplace. But actually, there's an incredibly good drama on BBC One that started about 10 days ago called Sherwood. And it's a 6-part drama, and it starts with the miners' strike from 1984. And it talks about, and the story is about a community that is still divided today. The writer is a guy called James Graham, who grew up in one of those colliery towns. And so he knows what happened to communities that were basically completely splintered. Anyway, he has used that background as a backdrop for a story that takes place in 2004, which is when there in fact was a real life murder. It's not based on the real life crime, but there was a real life murder of a lunatic who was going around with a crossbow, who killed somebody and then disappeared into Sherwood Forest for 2 weeks and couldn't be found. Anyway, that's the backdrop to what is an incredibly clever drama, a 6-parter. It's 2 episodes a week, so it's now up to episode 4. You can't watch episode 5 and 6 yet. It's got Robert Glenister in, it's got David Morrissey in, it's got Joanne Froggatt in, it's got Adil Akhtar in. It's really got an extraordinarily good cast. I mean, the best of British, mostly TV talent, but phenomenally good acting, phenomenally good writing. And it's very pacey. It's multi-layered. One of the storylines is about the fact, which also I think was based on a true idea, that the police had put in undercover operatives into these mining communities so they could find out what was going on. But significantly in this story, the idea is that whoever that undercover policeman was from 40 years ago is still there and is still part of the community. So it's a multi-layered story, very cleverly done, and will win a ton of awards, and deservedly so.
Well, lovely Demisa absolutely agrees with you. She says, Chantel Sherwood. Absolutely. So she's in agreement there. And she also seems to appreciate the fact that Leslie Manville is also part of it.
And of course, Leslie Manville, Oscar-nominated Leslie Manville, and actually an incredibly nice woman who I know a tiny little bit, so I shouldn't have gotten her name. But it's terrific. It's really worth watching.
Phil won't know this. I'm not being rude, but only because you're 35. Chantel might remember. And it was a huge issue that was covered up. These undercover policemen went in and became part of the community, and the idea was that they would assimilate. They often fathered children.
They did.
And then they'd bugger off.
Yeah. Extraordinary.
It was quite extraordinary. So the woman fell in love with Fred Smith, who wasn't really Fred Smith. He was, Detective Inspector Jones or something, fell in love, had children, and then when the guy's secondment was over, they'd leave.
Yeah.
It was the most extraordinary
Absolutely
episode.
extraordinary.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
It's
Yeah, I know.
mad to even think about it. Although
If you-
I'm
We
sure
have lived
there
our
are-
lives in cotton wool, I tell you.
I know. Well, they must all still be there somewhere. I mean, some
But
of
they
them.
are there. They are there.
Yeah.
It's so. But can you imagine being a woman and suddenly realize that everything that you thought was true was a complete fabrication? The person was a totally different person.
And what does it take to be that man who is the undercover guy? I mean, that's quite an interesting sort of, what's the psychological makeup of somebody like that?
Well, I was going to say, I would imagine that someone who's capable of doing that has to be pretty darn emotionless on many, many levels, because you feel no emotional guilt whatsoever about luring people in by false pretenses, whether it be the criminal or whether it be the person that you believed, or the person that you lead on to be your other half and then go to have children with, and then to be able to leave those children behind as if they don't exist. And that's got to be the most extraordinary lack of emotion.
And don't forget, Phil, some of these people had, I'm going to call it real life. The others was real life as well, so it's slightly rude, but real life relationships before they went undercover.
Yeah, like in other words, pre-work relationships. But yeah.
That's extraordinary.
Bizarre.
Chantel, who wrote, the wonderful series with Bendy Cucumber, the Sherlock, which I loved.
Sherlock, yes.
With Mark Gatiss and Stephen, help me out. Mark Gatiss and Stephen.
I want to say Prentice, but I think I'm wrong.
No, anyway, they're geniuses.
Right.
Genius work with Sherlock. And I only found it recently. I presume it came out last year, maybe the year before, a 3-parter called Dracula. So clever. Written by
Stephen Moffat, apparently, and Steve Thompson.
Stephen Moffat.
No, Mark Gatiss.
Yeah, and Mark Gatiss. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mark Gatiss, Stephen Moffat, and Steve Thompson, apparently.
Well, they're genius. I mean, they are so clever. My God.
Thank God for Google.
I know. I tip my hat to them. Anyway, it's a 3-parter. It's called Dracula. And so clever. I'll just say that. You can find it on Netflix.
Yeah, I think I watched the first episode. I didn't stick with it, but it was good.
It changes completely.
Okay.
I can't say any more. It'll spoil it. It changes.
Okay. Don't say any more.
Say any more.
Okay. Are you standing up at the moment?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, because so am I. I don't actually know how you bother doing this show standing up. I'm having to stand up because I couldn't get signal where I was before. And it's really annoying me now, if I'm honest.
But
I feel like I'm propping up a bar and there's no alcohol in front of me.
It's rare for you. Well, thanks to my dear friend Larry Viner, who gave me this stand-up desk. My back has, I never sit down ever during the day. I don't sit down before 7 o'clock at night. I always work standing up at my stand-up desk. It's brilliant. If you have back problems, it's wonderful.
I don't know how you can stand it.
Hey, right.
You missed me, come on.
Not really. Chantel, what else have you found?
Okay, so I love Adam Sandler, the American actor. I think he's a sort of comedy genius. I also think he's a very good actor. It sounds belittling to say comedy actor, and actually it's not meant to be belittling, because I think being a comedy actor and having good timing is incredibly useful, and it's a real skill. Anyway, so not to belittle him, but this is a sort of comedic sports buddy movie. Adam Sandler's got a $200 million deal seemingly with Netflix. This is one of the movies that he's brought out.
Jesus.
I'm sorry, he's got a what deal with Netflix?
A $200 million deal with Netflix, so that his movies go to Netflix, basically.
You'd have to pay me that to watch an Adam Sandler movie.
Oh, no. This is really nice. He plays a lovely character who's a baseball scout called basketball scout, not baseball scout, called Stanley Sugarman, who is very out of place in this world of, massive testosterone, big characters leaping about. on a court, and he's this sort of sweet, rather gentle, slightly quirky guy who goes around the world trying to find people to play for the Philadelphia 76ers. And he ends up going to Spain and finding somebody in Spain who doesn't really speak any English. The whole thing's utterly chaotic. And the team decide that they don't want to take this guy on. But Sugarman lies to him and says, yes, we're definitely going to take you on. And the story goes from there. And it's really well done. It's, I think, on 93, 94% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
It's a great feel-good movie. It comes from a sort of a different place. It's got a heart and a soul. It's a beautiful watch. And Adam Sandler, seriously, is really well worth watching. He steals it. He completely steals the film, and deservedly so. So it's called Hustle, and it's on Netflix. And I think it's #1 on Netflix this week. But
the thing that I've recently discovered on Netflix, I've actually watched this. First and foremost, you may recall ages ago I was banging on about a series called Somebody Feed Phil. I don't know whether or not you remember me talking about that. It's Phil Rosenthal, who's the creator of Everybody Loves Raymond. And he goes around the world and he tries lots of different local cuisine. And he supposedly, his researchers find what's classed as the best places to eat all of these different sort of foods around the world. Anyway, Somebody Feed Phil has brought out some new episodes now, because obviously as soon as the pandemic hit, he couldn't do it. He couldn't travel anywhere. And he always promised, he said, as soon as he was allowed to travel again, he would start making more episodes. And now there's 4 new ones that have come out. So season 5 is now available on Netflix. Honestly, he hasn't lost it. It's hilarious. Just watch it, because there is something absolutely hysterical about the way Phil Rosenthal just eats food around the world. You'd think it was the most boring concept ever, watching a man eating food, but he's the most genuine chap ever, because what happens is when he goes into these different parts of the world and these different restaurants and tries these foods, he reacts like you'd expect a human to react. So he doesn't react like you sort of see Jilly Watson chops from the food show or anything like that. Yeah. So she doesn't sort of start saying, yes, I'm getting sort of like essence of sea urchin coming through and stuff like none of that nonsense. Okay. What he does is he actually reacts in the way that you want him to. So he'll try the food. It's delicious. He says, this is amazing. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of reaction. Yeah. It's a brilliant program. Please watch it. Somebody Feed Phil. I highly recommend it.
I'm going to put that on in the background when I go downstairs in about 10 minutes and have lunch.
It's very easy to watch. Very, very easy to watch. Oh, and the other program as well, by the way, which I wasn't sure at first, but everyone was making such a fuss about it. I thought, I'll watch it just to see what it's about. I thought it was okay. Did you ever see Heartstopper? This show this little teen drama that people were banging on about. No. Look, I'll be honest with you, I can understand why it's been made. It's very much for this day and age's audience, but it wasn't completely my thing, if I'm honest. But it's about a young gay school pupil who basically falls in love with someone who's not confidently gay, but he's discovering his sexuality. So it's sort of like a very sort of placid love story. I can't pretend it's my thing, but it was okay, and I did watch it. So, but look, it's different.
It's being talked up in Hollywood, so I think that'll probably get awards too, and as soon as the award season starts.
I love it when you say that it's being talked up in Hollywood, whereas men's radio is being talked up in Cricklewood.
Oh, huge. Well, how huge. Good for Cricklewood.
I think that we're pretty much out of time, but we have got a final note here from Paul Claridge, who says that not all bad news. I think he says he's got a new posting now in Putney Station from Monday. Not permanent, but better than nothing. There you go. Thank you very much indeed.
Excellent.
That's it. I'm what can I say? I'm back. Hopefully back with you next Friday if I can get a bit of internet connection. Sorry about that, but it is very nice to be back. Okay. Can I just say, in all seriousness, I haven't missed you. But Chantel, it's been a treat to be on with you again.
Oh, lovely seeing you.
I'm only kidding. I'm kidding, RK. I'm kidding, RK. That's all we got time for today. Please do join Russ and Neil on Monday from midday. See you then. Have a great weekend. Bye all.
Bye, gang.